always says be a player and just don't run the play. So you gotta know which one is which. I just think that all comes with experience and more repetition going throughout the playbook.
Thanks a lot, Zach.
No problem.
What's your impressions of the new coaches?
I love it. It's obviously different than the past coaching staff we had. I love the last coaching staff. Those coaches recruited me to come here. I wish them nothing but the best. But I think we have a great coaching staff in front of us as well. We're just focused on getting better each day. We're going to continue to do that.
More specifically, like what do you see out of Billy Donlin? How has he challenged you in the short time you've had with him so far?
Yeah, Billy brings a lot of energy. I love that right off the bat. I love to play with a lot of energy. So we clicked immediately. He's huge on defense, which I love as well because I know we're going to need that in order to have a successful season this year. So we've only had 2 practices so far, but everything's been going well.
Based on what you saw in those practices, but also during the summer, how has Ibby kind of adjusted to the college game, and what does he bring to the table?
Yeah, I think Ibby's coming along well. I've taken him under my wing. I try to teach him as much as I can. Ibby's very athletic. He has a high IQ. He's able to make plays off of the dribble, which is nice. Especially to have a player that can score off the dribble, not just be a spot-up shooter. Is going to be key for us, and I think Ibby will be good for us.
And I think every team goes into the start of the season with a new sort of renewed confidence. Where is this team going to be better, just in general?
I think in general, the defensive end, it all starts there. Defense wins championships, and that's what we're keying in on. As long as we can go down there and stop teams, I think we got a good shot to have a successful season.
And how much the last couple of years was it difficult to adjust to? I mean, you have no ability to predict it, but how difficult was it to adjust to not knowing who you were going to have injury-wise with Karras both years, Derrick the 1 year? I mean, how does that affect the psyche of a team?
Yeah, that's sudden change for you. We just got that next man up mentality. That's what we always say. Being plagued with injuries the past year is tough for us. But this year, everyone's healthy right now, and we just want to keep that going.
So a lot has changed in a year for you. I mean, last year you weren't really considered to, be, in position to start for the competition early on in the season at least. Now you're in the middle of a battle. What's it like to be in a battle, especially with someone that you seem to be really close with, like Mark and everything? How are you guys kind of rubbing off on each other?
That's always the thing in like sports and with team sports. There's not really like a solution for it. You just gotta go through it and give your best. And I think we're feeding off each other. He has stuff that I need to learn a lot, and he can learn from me a little bit. So I think we're a pretty good team, and we don't see each other as opponents at all, or there's something that's going on between us at all. We're really good friends, and it's you kind of gotta enjoy that process too, because there are not a lot of chances in your life where that's gonna happen, that unique situation. So just taking it day by day and enjoying that.
What have you taken away from the new assistant coaches, and what have they improved in your game?
A lot. I think every coach or every assistant coach, every coach in general, has his own individual nuances or things. So every coach brings me a lot, a new perspective from his own philosophy. So Coach Donlin is very, very defensively oriented, obviously. Coach Sadi is very, very, very clear in his thoughts about offense and defense. So it's a lot over the summer. Obviously, we haven't practiced that much yet, but definitely.
So you've been here for a year, you've been in Ann Arbor for a year. What's your favorite part about this being kind of your home now? What's your favorite part about this that's different from where you've come from?
There's not really one thing. It's probably the atmosphere. The atmosphere is awesome here. I realize it now too. There's so many other different cities, so many different campuses where I could have ended up, and I ended up here. And Ann Arbor is just really unique in terms of how the persons are, the people. They're really open and all that stuff. So it really feels like a second home here, and I really feel comfortable.
You have a best friend from not just the team but the campus in general. Is there one guy who's kind of showed you the ropes?
Not one guy, no, not at all. You have these people and these people. I have a lot of friends here. They really pick me up really well. Even not in the team, people out of the team. So there's not really one guy who I would say, okay, that's the one.
Where do you? Go ahead.
But I can't complain about the social contacts I've made so far.
Where do you think you've made sort of the greatest gains from year 1 to year 2?
Oh, definitely defensively. You can sum that up that quick. It would take like an hour to sum up, but defensively a lot. Just it's a different way of playing too. The game is more intense, I would say. I don't even want to like judge it or compare it in any way. It's just so different from the approach, the preparation, all that type of stuff. So just the experience, probably the biggest thing I've taken away so far.
What's been your early impression of the 2 freshmen at your position, John and Austin?
Great dudes. They very funny. Great addition to the team. Really, really fun to be around them. Obviously, a lot to learn. Remind me a lot of last year, myself, my own situation, and I'm really happy that they helped me a lot too, and I'm really excited to work with them next year, the next years.
And you knew English pretty well, but do you feel that just a year, absorbed with, surrounded by it all the time, there's less of a language gap this year?
Yeah, definitely. Like sometimes I still don't stutter and I just still don't know what to say or how to say it right, but usually I don't really care about mistakes anymore. And I actually feel pretty comfortable speaking to people. Yeah, I don't know. A year made a lot.
What would be the one thing you'd give a young guy walking into his first week of football? What's the one thing you want to tell a guy to prepare him for what's to come?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Don't burn yourself out too early. It's a 5K race. So, chomping at the bit, be excited about every day. But don't burn yourself out trying to get one specific thing right on one day. It's time to learn everything.
The season ended with the loss to Notre Dame, but it seemed like it ended on a high note for everything else that took place, getting in the tournament, winning the first 4. How much has that impacted you, motivated you for your senior year, having that still in your taste in your mouth?
I think that along with personally coming off an injury, it was kind of similar to me. So have a sense of something that just didn't go well, and it just kind of springs you and makes you want to work that much harder. So personally, and as a team, I think every person on this team and guys that come onto this team just took upon themselves the off season to really work as hard as possible. Kind of just hone some things that they didn't do as well and want to get better at. So I think that Notre Dame loss kind of it still sits with me, but of course it kind of motivates me.
Thanks, Derrick.
No problem.
See you soon.
I wanted to go back to you and Zach really quick. You guys, obviously being the senior leaders on the team, know each other, 10, 12, 14 years. Let's talk about that relationship. And, you guys balancing things together. You guys are going through the ups and downs here. Just talk about that relationship a little bit between you guys.
Sometimes, of course, we're really good friends with opposed to just basketball, but I think the injuries personally just allow both of us to grow in different ways. It makes you grow up in a way that you probably wouldn't be able to if you didn't experience that thing. So going through those things together, just makes you appreciate the opportunity, at hand, and it just brought us a lot closer. Of course, we were already good friends, like I said, but things like that you go through together, it's like one of those things that you can always refer back to as a reason why you're so close.
Playing defense without fouling, what's the key to that?
I guess it really depends on the position the offensive player has. Not using their hands, being smart. But yeah, I think that's the number one thing, not using your hands, using your body, your forearms, stuff like that.
From an individual perspective, what have you wanted to see yourself improve on the most from last year to this year?
I probably have to say just rebounding, staying locked in defensively, using my athleticism and my tools in that area.
What's been your early impression of the 2 big freshmen that are coming in?
Really skilled. They adapt to criticism and things that coaches thrown at them left and right really well from all coaches.
Has it been a difficult transition with the 2 new assistant coaches?
Nah, it hasn't at all. They're real good guys. We're comfortable around him. We got to know him real well off the court. So it's been a real smooth transition.
Are there differences that you could sort of point to as far as, saying this is different this year as opposed to where it was last year?
I think the biggest difference is just honing in on defense at this point of the year, making that our number one priority. We work on defense a lot throughout the practices, the early practices that we've had, so that's probably the number one difference.
How much muscle have you put on this offseason? I know last year you put on quite a bit too.
Yeah, I probably put on like 5 to 10 pounds just muscle working with Sandman in the weight room. So.
How much muscle before you stop calling yourself lanky?
I don't know. That's a good question. I've never thought of that. Never been asked that.
Because I mean, you can see.
Yeah.
Does it translate to the game so far? Have you noticed it?
Yeah, it definitely has as far as rebounding, embracing contact, finishing against contact. Defensively, I've definitely noticed it.
Is that the message? When the coaches meet with you over the summer, was that the main message they want you to improve on? Is being a little more, having more contact courage, I guess?
Right, yeah, definitely from Coach Beeline, but that's also an area of my game that I want to improve on as well. So.
Do you think that it was agreed that in order for us to achieve what we wanted to last year, and the same goes for this year, that there needed to be more of that, kind of those three buzzwords, like I said, more competitiveness, more sense of urgency, specifically on the defensive end, and intangibles like rebounding, loose balls, like that sort of thing. So I think, from a personal standpoint, I've tried to emphasize that. And I think, like I said earlier, there's been an emphasis on that so far this offseason and in practice.
John said, I think the word he used was wimpy. Have you heard that yet? That the program has a reputation of being wimpy, even though there's been results that say maybe otherwise.
Have I heard that from Coach Beeline?
I don't know if you heard that today, because that was the word.
I've not heard that today.
The idea of you use it as a motivator? Are you even thinking about it? Is that even a thing? That there's a reputation like that?
It's a challenge because you don't want to get caught up in what's being said. But I don't necessarily think that us acknowledging it comes from looking at some outside source, but instead, the guys in the locker room and realizing that we have these things that we want to achieve this year, and in order for us to do that, there's a list of things that we have to do as a team. And I think, like you said, or like I said earlier, some of those things are what I've already addressed. I think that there's an acknowledgement of that, there's an understanding of that, which I think is, and I think, to be honest, I think that's the first step, but I think we're even past that. I think there's been an implication. We're starting to apply it, I think, which is important.
And what has Billy brought? How he's the loud. When the three assistants were out here talking, he was like the loudest guy in the gym by far. You could hear his voice over the other coaches. Yeah. What has he kind of brought in terms of personality and maybe being a little bit?
He's been great. He's been great to have. He brings so much energy, and naturally it just raises not only the energy but the enthusiasm, competitiveness within practice. And he demands a lot of us, which I think is important. There's new concepts that he's introducing, and as a team we're all trying to get on the same page in that regard. And he's made that process relatively smooth. He's been a really good teacher in that regard. So we're just trying to learn and grow from what he has to offer.
What were you thinking when you heard Jalen Rose say that Zak Irvin's the best shooter in the country?
Zak can really shoot. He's a great shooter. So I wasn't too surprised by it. Not too many people I would take against Zak in the shooting competition.
There wasn't a "Hey, what about me" kind of reaction to it.
No. I tried that. I've been playing with. This is my third year playing with Zak, so I know he can really shoot. I was no surprise there.